What's going on, everybody? Dr. Average Gamer Guys back, and as you can see, finally jumping into some PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I am definitely going to be playing this game. I've been playing it quite a bit over the last couple days. I ended up picking it up or getting it for Christmas, and so I've got quite a few hours in. I've got a couple chicken dinners for those of you that have played and know or have watched people play this before. So I've got some thoughts on the Xbox version. I've got some basic tips. And really just some gameplay that we're going to run through of just a solo match here. So I'm jumping in. I have a few issues with the game. I'll tell you up front. I will also say, first and foremost, the game is really fun. It's a great concept. I've watched people stream it before. I was super excited for when it was coming to Xbox. It is still a game preview, so there's a lot of things that I say that the game developers, I'm sure, know that they need to work on and need to fix, but it's still worth giving some constructive feedback and just giving my thoughts on it, to be honest. That way, you're not unlike me, where maybe your friends have it, you're thinking about picking it up, maybe you ended up getting it for Christmas, you just haven't had a chance to play it, or whatever the case may be. I do want to let you know kind of what I think some of the issues are up front. That way maybe you're not quite as frustrated or not quite as caught off guard as I was. So the first thing that's probably the most frustrating thing for me that I want to be fixed immediately is what I would consider a lag out, which then essentially force restarts your game. So you're going to see me here. I'm rendered in, which rendering is kind of a problem too. Next thing I know, I'm going to turn over here. I'm going to go pick. I think I picked that up, and then I go over here to look at that, and I'm frozen. And that immediately, I know, having a little bit of time in the game, that I'm going to be restarting it. Now, the nice thing is where I dropped in, surprisingly, there wasn't a whole lot of people. It's kind of because it's on an outer edge. But you can see here, essentially, the game completely force restarts, kicks you out of the game completely. You have to load back in, reconnect, and then load from there. Now, I have a couple buddies that have the Xbox One X. That doesn't seem to be as big of a problem. I will say for them, it still happens. It seems like their rendering and their loading times are a little bit better, obviously just because it's a stronger console, which makes perfect sense. And it just seems the other thing that happens with this, I've seen a lot of lag outs immediately upon coming in. I've seen a lot of rendering issues where it drops people into walls or through floors. But I've also seen a lot of just issues in general with the game of just lag outs in different scenarios. Some will be, intense gun battles, which then, kind of makes sense. There's a pretty heavy load on the servers and your connection. But there's also been a lot of times where we'll just be like rolling in a vehicle, or you'll literally just be running to a play area, and all of a sudden you just lag out. Your character will actually continue to run forward, which is beneficial in some senses and definitely not beneficial in a lot of others. And then you're just trying to scramble to get back in and reconnect. It seems like for me, it happens a little bit more consistently. I guess with any type of team-up gameplay. So duos, you can play duos, which is twos. You can play squads. They've now introduced where you can also go in with a squad of 3. Standard squads are 4. You can go in with a squad of 3, which I think was really interesting. That was a recent playlist update that just happened the other day. So pretty excited for that. So the updates, hopefully they will keep rolling. I do think there's just a lot of other little things that they can fix. The biggest one, in my personal opinion, being you got to stop the lag outs. The game's got to at least be able to load in, run smooth, and you got to at least be able to just consistently play the game and enjoy the experience. Is it going to be perfect? No. Is the vehicles going to be perfect? No. Obviously, this is a PC port over. One other thing I think that would be beneficial is to get some significant feedback about the controls. I think a lot of the controls make sense. I think there's a lot that they need to allow you to customize. I also think there's a lot of things that are done a specific way because I think they thought maybe it would work better on PC, or certain buttons have certain functions that really maybe have too many. So for instance, in order to reload, instead of reloading automatically upon finishing your shots or your rounds in your magazine and continuing to fire, you have to hold X to reload. Now that's, I guess, more intensive. It makes the situations a little bit more intense themselves if you're in a gunfight and you need to reload. So I can kind of see that a little bit. What I don't understand is the actual reload function isn't a tap of a button; it's a hold of the X button. And there's just a lot of little things like that I feel like they could do a little bit better when it comes to modifying or setting the controls up. Now again, there's a lot of functions in here. There's a lot of capability like peek around corners. You can change your zeroing distance when you're looking down a sight with your weapons, increasing or decreasing it. That way you can compensate for bullet drop. So a lot of really, really good mechanics. It's just somewhat awkward, I think, personally, for those running it on the Xbox just with the controller. So something else to kind of look at. The other thing that I'm thinking that needs just a little bit of work is I just feel like there needs to be some better server support. I think that would help some of the lag outs. I think that would help with a little bit of the inconsistency I see with damage, hit markers, and things like that. There's been quite a few gunfights where I'm sure I'm missing, and I deserve to miss. There's also been quite a few gunfights where I'm like definitely pegging somebody, not understanding how they're just eating the damage, and then I'll get dropped pretty quickly after that. So a lot of stuff to still work on. I think we addressed a couple of the biggest ones. Really, in my opinion, the biggest being the lag outs, and you gotta fix the rendering ability. We gotta be able to drop into a map that has the buildings populated, the stuff inside of them populated, and the ability to just get to the game running as soon as you can. Now, there's some significantly great things about this game. Again, the concept is awesome. It is super fun. It's a super stressful game. I had my first duos win the other day, and I will tell you, it was like a 1v8 situation, and it was really intense. Really intense. After I won, I was ecstatic. I ran like a little bit of an adrenaline high for a while. It was awesome. Concept is great. Like I said, I think the map is fine. I think the randomization of the drops is fine. I think the customization for weapons is really, really cool. So again, just a lot of stuff they do well. Matches queue up, almost instantaneously as soon as you start matchmaking. So that's really a big benefit. Very little wait time to get into a match. Obviously, and then the ability to spectate and actually still be a team player if you're talking to your team is really cool. Sometimes it's a little frustrating if you get killed early in the game and you're playing like a squad game and the rest of your squad does well, but essentially you can be an extra set of eyes for them, looking through their lens, which is really, really neat, and has come in beneficial for my team in the past with being able to do that. So like I said, a lot of really cool stuff, a lot of things to still work on. It is obviously still I guess in a beta stage, game preview if you will. So hopefully we'll see some pretty consistent updates and get close to the final release of the game. Like I said, having fun with it. Some things are frustrating. Got to work through those. If we can get those couple things fixed, I think we've got a very, very popular and very consistent game on our hands here. So interestingly enough, I do kind of want to segue a little bit into I guess the tips portion of this. And I find I've played solos, duos, squads. I'm definitely no expert. I have just a couple wins across those. I have quite a few top 10 finishes in solos, just because I feel like I have a pretty good solo strategy. But I will definitely tell you the one thing that you want to do, and I feel like a lot of people get into the trap sometimes, is don't overloot. Get yourself a good setup. Take the time, especially on the first play area. Take the time, find yourself some good loot. Get yourself set up, but don't overloot. Don't spend too much time. Position is always almost better than whatever weapons you have. Now, obviously, you need some good weapons. You can see here, I ended up having an SKS with a suppressor. So I was lucky enough to find two of the critical pieces to the weapon. I ended up making some decent plays here, getting a couple kills. But the important thing to remember is, again, very, very, very infrequently, very, very rarely are you going to drop in to even a large building or a city by yourself, loot everything, and find every single item that you need. Again, it's just probably not going to happen. Or if it does, it happens very, very infrequently. I can think of only maybe 2 times or 3 times out of the many games that I've played where I've dropped in, found my ideal weapon, whether that be some kind of SKS or a Mini 14 or an M4 or a SCAR, and found every single attachment for it to include a suppressor, to include a 4x optic, so that I can just get some range out and drop some folks. Again, this game I happened to be lucky enough where I found the suppressor later on, after a little bit of looting and move into better positions, find the SKS. I get a kill with my silenced SKS, which I'm super excited about, and then I'm able to go loot and kind of just build my inventory from there. That's the other kind of secondary tip. So don't loot too much. Make sure you're paying attention to the ring and you find good positioning, and sacrifice maybe a little bit of your stockpile. Find some healing items, obviously. Find some find some good weapons, find some ammo that can sustain you. But you got to realize at some point you're going to get in a gunfight. You're probably going to get multiple gunfights. Hopefully, if you've got a better position, you're able to win those gunfights. And this goes for solo, squads, duos. Once you're able to do that, the people that you end up fighting are going to have stuff. At some point, especially if it's a little bit later in the game, they're going to have optics, they're going to have healing items, they're going to have more ammo for you. They'll probably have better weapons than you in some cases. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're rolling through this. That you need to loot enough to be competitive and to survive, but you also, again, really want to have a good positioning. Try not to overloot, and don't look for every single critical piece every single time. And in doing so end up sacrificing your position, because I will tell you, the ring, it moves a lot. Very very infrequently it is going to be a ring that assists you, where you end up in the dead center the entire game. I think that's only happened for me like once. And yeah, you're gonna get in gunfights. Don't be afraid of the gunfights. Don't be afraid to go and hunt a little bit, especially for people that maybe are not paying as much attention, or might have focused somewhere else, because you can cash in on a couple quick kills, which is obviously good for battle points, which, if you don't know, is a currency you can trade in to get customizable items for your character, so shirts and hats and all that different kind of stuff. But like I said, you're going to win some gunfights, you're going to get in some gunfights. Hopefully you can win those, and if you can, again, the ability to loot those people after they've gone through and taken the time to loot wherever they came from is almost 100% always better than what you're ever going to be able to find in, say, a single building. The other big tip I would have for everybody, as I'm kind of getting into the game and getting used to things, is just have good map awareness. You can pull your map up really at any time. You can do it while driving, you can do it while parachuting in, you can also do it while running. So it's not bad to kind of cross-reference and check that out. But the more familiar you can come with the map, the better off you're going to be, just for the sole fact that you're going to know kind of the areas to stay away from, the areas to go to. And if you have to move from one area to another, you'll get a good idea of the terrain, how traversable it is by vehicle, so on and so forth. So yeah, just like I said, no pro tips here, nothing crazy, but if you are just jumping into it, you're just maybe not finding some success, those are a couple tips I would have for you that I found definitely helped me. And it definitely took a lot of time. Like I said, I put quite a few hours in, especially since getting it about a week ago, and really just like I said, enjoying the experience, minus a few of the things that are a little frustrating, but overall, like I said, it is a great concept. It's super fun. I really can't wait to see the updates kind of continue to roll for this game, and it just to improve, hopefully pretty incrementally fast, or pretty quickly at first, and then just consistent updates after that. I would be really happy with. So I ended up having a pretty good game here. The solos, I think I ended up getting in 4th, which I'm actually a little bit confused about, because when I die, almost immediately upon my dying, it says there's only 2 people left. So what I'm not sure is if somebody died maybe right before me, or right after me, which is very possible. And I've been in these situations before where, again, the play area, not very beneficial to me. There's maybe one little set of trees that you're going to see here that provides somebody a little bit of cover, and then everybody else is really just crawling in the field. I had a pretty good setup as far as weapons, scopes, optics, and And really, I just got seen and kind of got outgunned pretty quickly. But always intense, always nice to get a top 4 finish. And like I said, just having fun with this game. I really am. It's a game that's honestly going to be hard to kind of do some videos on unless I can capture just some bomb footage of me getting some crazy across the map snipes, or unless I can start being really consistent with winning, which is extremely difficult in this game, especially with 100 players, people dropping all around you. I'm a big fan, again, of the solos. I'm also a really big fan of the duos. I think that small team aspect keeps everybody relatively spread at first, which makes for some cool and interesting run-ins and scenarios, and some good, really strategic play. You can honestly play this if you've got a good team of people. You can play this game very strategically. You can call out distance, direction for enemies. You can mark things on your map to set up different locations. You can, really strategize well about, engaging people and engaging enemies, which is really cool. So, like I said, we're going to definitely want and going to be continuing to do more and more of this as we go along. And hopefully these videos won't be too terribly long. Sorry about a 17-minute video for this one, but just wanted to get it out there. Just want to get my initial thoughts, see what you guys are thinking. I really do want to hear if you do have the game or if you have friends that are talking about it. Let me know what you want to see that needs to get fixed. What do you see that is really sustainable and really cool, and what's maybe something that's outside of that they could add that would just maybe make the player experience a little bit better, or just make the game more fun. I'd really be interested to hear really what all you guys have to say. And yeah, so Doc from Average Gamer, guys, as always, sincerely, thank you so much for the support to the channel. Thanks for watching. Thanks for just spending these 17 or so minutes of your day with me. And it just means a lot. It means a lot, especially if you are new. If you are new, you enjoy it, please do subscribe. We've got a lot of other stuff on the channel and a lot more coming. We're going to try to be as consistent as we can. So, yeah, like I said, just really appreciate the support. Really appreciate everybody tuning in, and hope everybody has a good start to 2018. Thanks, everybody. Catch you in the next one.